What's going on? Welcome to QVO Games. My name is Juan. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. This video is going to be at the Gamescom until the week of June 25th. We have a great lineup of games. One of these games I was completely wrong about. I had the wrong impression, the complete wrong impression. I got an overview of it over at Origins. I was at Origins this week, which is why you're getting your video extremely late, and I am apologizing so much. I came back extremely tired, out of it, and I need to rest up before I can come on here and tell you about these games and do the research and the work to get it all done. So I'm sorry about getting this video out late to you, but let's get this video going. Keep in mind, I'm covering the games coming to retail in the US, so some of these games may have already been released in other regions of the world. If that is the case, you may already be seeing coverage from other content creators. You may have picked up a copy early from a convention. Keep in mind, covering the games coming to retail in the US. If one of these dates do change, I will make sure to update you of that change in its new respective week where it's releasing in that video. Let's get these games showcased. First things first, coming out this week, Casting Shadows. Casting Shadows was on Kickstarter. I posted a short about this game. This game is by Unstable Games, and it's Casting Shadows. And they have a lot of other games that are similar-esque. Not really similar, I guess, but they share a similar style of gameplay. Casting Shadows, I did post a short about it, and it was a little unboxing about the game. I got the whole all-in, only because I love the vinyl figures. They look amazing. In Casting Shadows, you are going to be playing as different creatures of the Force, and these people are going to be aiming to be the next higher power, and you're going to be building your power. You're going to be able to transform into your shadow form, which is really neat. These are just an example of some of the critters. I'm going to show you what's in the box here and tell you a little bit more about it. In Casting Shadows, you're playing as your different creatures, and these creatures are going to be looking for power, and you're going to be rolling dice, collecting spells to add to your spellbook to attack your enemies. Every location has an effect of some sort, and you're going to go in with the idea of rolling dice, using the resources to cast your spells, and these spells themselves are going to be just a lot of like take that going on, right? Like take their spell card, delete down their health by so much, move them 2 spaces away so you completely mess with them. That's what the game is. It's really just a lunatic. I don't know if that's the right word. A really crazy experience when you're playing the game. I think it's fun. It's definitely not something I would recommend for like a Eurogamer, someone who like plays board games of different type. There's definitely a take that style game, good for intro to board gaming, and people who are just looking to have a good time. That is what Casting Shadows is to me. It's very simple, straightforward. You go in, you can move your character, play spell cards, do an action, and attack. That's all it really is. I enjoy it, but I enjoy it as a game to play with like my family who maybe they don't play board games that often and they don't really look to play that many. They just want to play a game. A lot of take that and just like go at each other and destroy each other. That's kind of what it is. They also have the expansion, as well as like all their other stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of Kickstarter stuff. These are the vinyl figures, by the way, that I bought. I thought they were really cool. I want to frame them sometime and just have them up. That is a really cool resource dice box as well. What it comes with it. It comes like all the Kickstarter exclusive stuff is here. Most of it, some of the stuff is actually not. But it's a great game. It's more of an intro game. I would recommend it only if like you're not looking for like a Euro style game. A game where you go in, roll dice, attack, do some cool damages, and then feel like kind of cool and powerful about like something you just did and wreck your enemies or your friends. That's what Casting Shadows is, and they even have an expansion out which adds some new characters, some new cards. So check it out. If it's for you, pick it up. If not, don't. I am going to post more content, so maybe that can help you make your decision. Right now I have like a short, which is just an unboxing of it, which I think the components are really cool from the Kickstarter. That's kind of why I bought it. This is coming out this week, and it's going to be by Unstable Games, Casting Shadows. Coming up next, Istanbul by Pegasus Spiel, also coming out this week. This game itself, it's based off the Istanbul, like the really famous board game that was previous to this, and now this is like a choose and write by Pegasus Spiel, of course, and it's going to be a game where you're playing it's a X and right, X and right style game. You're going to choose and write. You're going to have cards in your hand that you're going to be choosing different locations to go to. A kind of like a basic card will let you do a location as well as do an action, as well as let everyone else do the same action. The only randomness, usually a game has like roll a dice and choose your symbols, flip a card, or do something like that. In this game, you're picking the card. So the randomness kind of comes from your opponents or your enemy, or like your opponents. Your opponents, your friends, the people you're playing the game with. I'm like calling everybody like enemy. I feel like maybe I'm like looking for balance today. I'm like trying to play a game where like a lot of take that. Casting Shadows hasn't been doing that. Istanbul, the randomness comes from like your friends who are all playing at the table, right? You're gonna be playing a card, and whatever they play is what you do. There's also guild cards that only you do that action, but those cost you more to play. But they have really powerful effects. So the gain is there's a high payoff, there's a high cost, but the payoff can be high as well. And it's primarily based off Istanbul. So if you played Istanbul, the board game, there's going to be a lot of similar locations from there, and it's inspired by that game. That's the most unique part about it. You're going to have your friend. The randomness comes from your friends. They're choosing their actions, and then you following up along with that as well. A lot of fun stuff. The way you win the game is you have to get 10 gems. 10 gems, the player to your right, everyone takes a turn after them, and then the game's over. It's neat. I am excited. I'm more into like X and right games or and right games, and I am having a lot of fun with them. I've seen a lot of games, and I haven't think I've played a bad and right game, like a bad one yet. Not sure. I don't think so yet. Or one that I'm like I gotta get rid of it. Not yet, because I still have them. I have a big box, a big pile of games that I'm getting rid of. I'm trying to minimize, 'cause it's a lot of games, and I don't think my right games have left. So I'm probably gonna pick this up. I really want to try it out. This is coming out this week by Pegasus Spiel, Istanbul, Choose and Write. Coming up next, we have Mind Your Business by Envy Board Games. Envy Board Games is a smaller publishing company, and this game was on their Kickstarter and is just now coming to retail on their website. You can buy it directly from their website. I'm going to be showing you the listing they have of both of the games. They're both the same game, but when you put them together, you can actually have a four-player game going on instead of just a two-player game going on. This game has a lot of variability, a lot of single-player modes. There's a cooperative mode, competitive modes with different styles of play, which is really cool and interesting. I'm going to kind of go over to the BGG just because I want to show you some pictures of the game and explain to you a little bit what's going on. So, game's really simple and straightforward. You're going to be on your turn, you're going to do your action, which is either move, rotate, swap, load cart, or change camps. In the game itself, if you look right here, I couldn't find many pictures of the game, and I didn't want to go on someone else's YouTube video and show you pictures, so I'm going to show you a couple things here and explain them from here. It's a spatial movement game with a tricky puzzle, also looking to make cool patterns, and the patterns are going to be with different gems and jewels. When there's a cart, and I'm going to show you this picture. There's actually me playing their game at World Series of Board Games. And in the game, I'm going to show you there's a cart that goes around in a circle. And as the cart is moving, it's also the timer of the timer of the game when the game ends. And you're going to be aiming to have these patterns, like these lines of gem stuff, going into your cart. So you're going to want to have those line up. And then when your cart gets to you, want to add them to your cart. And when you do that, you're going to be collecting like the jewels and the gems and all that stuff, and you're going to be adding them to your score. That's in the competitive version. Cooperative version, you're kind of playing against this snake here, and the snake, I think it's a snake, I'm not sure actually, I'm pretty sure it's a creature or a snake, and when you play against them, you're going to try to avoid them because they're there to just mess you up and ruin your game. It has so many variable ways of play. I think, honestly, it's a pretty great deal. $42.99 for both games. If you want to play 4-player, of course. If you want to play like the single-player one, if you go down here, you can buy for $25, which isn't too bad. You get to pick which version you want. The main difference is the color of meeples. They did a great job with this game. The game itself is going to be, I think this game is going to be just like a staple in people's collections at this point, only because it's so easy to play, has so many variable ways to play, a great solo mode, a great cooperative game, and some competitive stuff going on. Check it out, look it up. There's a bunch of content on the internet already. They did a really good job of marketing their game, which I think is great because when you have a game that has absolutely some type of content and some type of videos or reviews or something going on, it's really hard to tell if the game is or isn't for you. But they did. They have Rado doing some coverage at Lab Games. Check out the game. Let me know what you think in the comment section or if you end up picking it up. I want to know. I am excited. I played this game already. It's a great game. Let's keep going. Envy Board Games, Mind Your Business, coming out this week. Well, it's actually already out. Sorry about that. You can buy it on the website today. Coming up next, we're going to have KAPOW Volume 2 by Wise Wizard Games, coming out on June 27th. This is the game I mentioned that I was wrong about. When I saw KAPOW, I'm like, oh, another Dice Throne clone. That's kind of what I thought, and I feel really bad about that. But when I got to overview it over at Origins, I was wrong. It is a Dice Throne style game, Yahtzee battle style game. You roll some dice, match your symbols up to what your actions you can do on your board, but it has so much flavor. It is ridiculous, right? And I can, yet again, take this with bias. I'm a big superhero nerd. Doesn't mean I like all superhero games. I played some superhero games, and I'm like, I don't like it. It's kind of whack. However, I got an overview of KAPOW, Volume 1 specifically, and I was extremely impressed. It was so neat. The dice look so neat. And the coolest thing is, it's also a dice. You get a buildable dice. And the buildable dice, you can put different faces on it when you build it, depending on what strategy you're going to with your character. And the character plays has a lot of variability going on as you roll your dice. You can also build out your dice to complement different play styles while you're playing the game. Super neat stuff. Like you had literally have a die that you can change the face on, and that was like super cool to me, and that completely blew me away. I am extremely excited, and I hope to be able to like do more coverage on this game. KAPOW, of course, in KAPOW Volume 2. This is it. It's a battle Yahtzee game. That's what it is. I'm gonna just go a little bit detail because I'm talking out of emotion now. A little bit detail is a battle Yahtzee game. You're rolling dice. You're aiming to see what you can and can't do, and you're gonna attack your enemy for his health. Really straightforward, just like Dice Throne. But I just think this game has so much more flavor, a little more complexity. That doesn't make it too hard to learn, but just gives a little more satisfying feeling when you're playing the game. It's not just like a I think in Dice Throne, like, okay, I attack you, and you attack me back, and that's it. I just think the effects here just look so much cooler and feel so much better. It's like they like they look at Dice Throne, they're like, and they multiply by times 10 with the attention to detail in the gameplay. I'm excited for this. I am pumped. I was wrong. I was ignorant. I never said anything about it, but I was ignorant of the fact that I was like, whatever, another Dice Throne clone. I'm wrong. KAPOW, I am excited to play KAPOW. It's a great game so far from what little bit I played, and I'm excited to do more and play some more. This KAPOW Volume 2 comes out June 27th by Wise Wizard Games. Coming up next, we have I might be saying this wrong, and I apologize. Skoventyr. Skoventyr by Skoventyr by Impatience Games. I almost said something completely different. Impatience Games. Cooperative card game. They have this kind of bases off a lot of like Denmark folklore, Danish fairy tales, Danish folklore. Denmark is the country. Danish folklore, and you're playing cooperatively. You're building up allies, using those allies to attack different enemies, and the enemies have to do. I don't know the folklore too much. Like I really don't know, so I'm a little ignorant on that. But I'm gonna explain to you as much as I know. Gamble Eric, who is like the devil in Denmark, that is the devil. He is chasing a badger named Vogler, who is like the forest, like he is like the goddess of the forest kind of thing. And your goal is to help Vogler escape, and you're doing that by helping him gain allies. And when he gains the allies, your Gamble Eric is gaining minions, and you're doing your best to use your allies to defeat the minions. And you have some really gorgeous artwork. It looks, I love how it looks. And this is an example of the allies. This is Gamble Eric, and your goal is just to get as many allies as possible, match them up with symbols and effects to try to take out his minions. And if you look here, these are the trees of the forest you're kind of going through trying to run away with. This game, I have never seen a theme based around this, which is really neat. I have not seen that at all. I'm curious. I'm really curious. Also because Morten Monrad Pedersen, who's done a lot of solo games, and he's basically mastered the craft. I mean, he's done Scythes. He's done a bunch of Stonemaier games, solo variants, and they're all great solo games, right? And he did this one, so I am curious to see what this one plays like. I want to experience it. It has a solo and a cooperative version of the game, and it's piqued my interest. That's as far as I can go because I can't find any more details past the release date, and as well as some smaller details here. So Skoventyr coming out June 30th by Impatience, and check it out. That's one I'm curious about. Last one on our list today, coming out June 30th, is going to be by Fantasy Flight Games, Marvel D.A.G.G.E.R. Marvel D.A.G.G.E.R. So you're playing as Marvel superheroes, and it's kind of like a pandemic style game. As you go in, you have different superheroes, and the superheroes do different things, and they're very variable, extremely variable. And I'll go over that in a bit. Let's see if I can get a picture of the board here, and here it is. The board looks like this, right? You have different locations, different bases. Your whole goal is to not allow the specific enemy you're facing to destroy your bases. The bases are in Wakanda. There's 3 other ones as well from different famous places in the Marvel universe. I think the interesting, when I look at this game, I'm like, dang, another pandemic style game. What does it do differently? Why? Why is it exciting? Why am I excited to play this one over the 100 other clones, right, of the game? I do like Marvel, but I'm also not. I also enjoy like the mechanics of my games. I don't just buy everything that's like superhero-esque. So in the game, you have your superheroes. Very similar to another different game of Fantasy Flight. You have aspects, right? Each superhero plays differently, feels different. We also have aspects in the game, and the aspects is what's going to determine like how you want your hero to play. Do you want it to be more defensive, aggressive, or more like defensive? Do you want it to be support? What do you want the superhero to do? Which is kind of interesting. So basically, your Black Widow can be an aggressive play. You can play with her like a support character, and there's going to be like variants. For example, like you have Black Widow, which is they're both Black Widows, but this is going to be Natasha Romanoff, and this will be Yelena. I forgot her last name, Yelena. And you're going to be able to flip the cards over to play as the different variants. They both have different abilities, and you can just change the aspects. So the characters have a lot of variable in play, and there's over 20 there's like 20 characters, I believe, which is a lot of characters. I'm assuming 10 cards, flip them over, that's times 2. That's going to be that. There's Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and Miles Morales. Each hero just feels and plays differently, as well as changing up the aspects depending on what you want to do with the character is how you can do it. That's kind of cool. You can like mix and match different type of aspects with the heroes. That's neat. It's kind of like what it is. And there's a lot of enemies as well, like villains you can fight up against, which is like Loki. There's like Red Skull. There's a bunch of other ones, and they all do different things. Like they all have events and minions they do. They all play differently. So that's going to be another part of the variability of play. If you don't own a Pandemic game, and you really want, and you don't think maybe Pandemic's your cup of tea, maybe try, and you like superheroes, Marvel, the whole fandom going on right now, or like the big hype train of Marvel, all that stuff, try this one out. Try this one out and see if you like it. I unfortunately did not get a chance to play this. This was actually being presented at Gamma when I was there, but like it was ridiculously, like the line was so long, I just didn't want to wait in line to play the game because there's other games that didn't have a line. I could play those as well. I could try those out. That's kind of the most interesting part, is like the way the characters change up a lot. Like the aspects are just different. You can choose different aspects, flip them over, have different variants of the characters. That's it. There's actually gameplays of this game already online. Check it out. It's a cooperative game, Pandemic style, Marvel D.A.G.G.E.R. We are at the end of the video. Exciting stuff. These games, I think we're picking up again as well. We have a lot of releases coming out, especially with Gen Con. I will try my best to do a Gen Con release video. I'm gonna go over a lot of games you can find at Gen Con. Maybe do like my top 10 or top 15 games, maybe top 20 games at Gen Con that I'm gonna talk about that I think you should check out. I think there's definitely a lot of games coming out, man. I have coverage prepared and I have a list prepared, and I'm gonna do a lot of the coverage for Gen Con as well and try to get that to you. Thank you for watching the video. If you like any of these games and you're going to buy them, please let me know in the comments. I want to know if you're going to buy these games. If you don't want like these games, it's just definitely a good way to also help the channel and let me know that I'm doing a good job by just interacting and being more social. And I love socializing and talking about board games. So I'll talk to you in the comment section for as long as you want to talk to me. I always try my best to make sure I answer every comment and as well as answer back. Unless if you're posting negative stuff and like negative comments and it's not constructive in any way, you're just kind of bashing or being aggressive or negative, probably won't answer. But otherwise, I definitely do. Thank you for watching the video. Have a good one.